Hello and welcome to this session. I'm Raghav, and in this session we are going to learn how to do XML schema validation or how to validate a XML against its schema in rest assured. This is going to be very easy and very interesting. Let us suppose this is a very simple XML. Now we can say that this is a well formed XML if it follows all the rules and structure of an XML document. However, we can say this is a valid XML if it is created as per the structure laid out in another XML document, which is called as XML schema or XML schema definition. So XML schema is a XML document that describes the structure of XML, and if your XML conforms to this structure, it will be called a valid XML document. So XML schema itself is written in XML. So let us see for this particular XML document, if I have to create a XSD or XML schema, I will start with XS schema tag, and then I can add the elements that should be available in the XML document. So the first one is the class tag, and I'm saying this is of complex type because it has some child elements inside this particular tag. And then if you want the child elements to appear in a particular sequence, we can add the sequence tag, and then we have the student tag. Again, this will be of complex type, and the sequence of child elements under the student tabs are first name, which should be of type string, last name, and again the value should be of type string, and age should be of type integer. So this is a XML schema or a XSD for this particular XML. Now let us see how we can do a XML schema validation in rest assured. Step number one here is I will create or I will get a XML schema. So in general, if you have to validate your XML, you should be getting a XML schema or an XSD document against which you can validate your XML. In our case, we do not have it, so we can create our own XML schema. And for that, I can go to Google and search for XSD generator or XML schema generator, and you will get a lot of tools online. So let me see this one, which is freeformatter.com, and here if you give your XML here and click on XSD generate XSD, it will give you your XML schema. So here I'm going to my Eclipse and I will open my project, and here this is the project we have created earlier. If I go to src test java and tests package, in the last session we created this soap XML request, and here this is a calculator soap API. If I go here and search for calculator web service, this is the one we have used earlier, and we have seen the add API. We have added the add API in our request. So just in case you have not seen the earlier session, you can check that where we added this API and we ran using rest assured. So here this is going to be the response. So in our response we will get something like this, where we will have the add result, which should be of type integer, and then we will have, this is the structure of the response, and this is what I want to verify. I want to verify my response against an XML schema. So I will copy this response and then go here to free formatter, paste this XML, and instead of integer I can add some value here. So this is my XML response that I am expecting, and I will say generate XSD. So this will generate the XML schema definition that I can use, and yes, you can see it has generated the XML schema definition. I will copy this and then I will add this to the project class path. So what does this mean is, I will go and first create this in a file. So I will create a new text file and I will say this is calculator, and I will give the extension .xsd. So you can see I have created this calculator.xsd file, and let me open this, and I'll open with a notepad. You can use any editor, and I'm just pasting the XML schema here, and this is what I will need to add in my project. So we have to add this file in the project class path. So what is the class path is, if you do a right click on your project folder and go to build path and say configure build path and go to source, so you can see the folders that can be used as locations where you can add files that will be added directly to your class path. And you can see this is the default output folder. So whatever files I put into these folders, which is src main java and src main resources, they will be added to the class path by default, and this is the location where they will be added. So let me show you. If I add my file, that is, let me open this, and here is my file. If I add it to src test resources, so let me show you again. If I go and go to build path and say configure build path and go to source, so src main java and src main resources, so I can put it to src main resources, and I will just drag and drop it here. And when I do this, when I copy this, if I go to my target folder physically, if I do a right click on the target folder and go to properties and open this folder on the system, so you can see I have classes folder inside, and now I should be getting my calculator XSD as well here. So for that I will have to build the project. Let me just build the project. I will say project and build, and as I build the project, you will see here I should be getting the calculator XSD file in the build path, that is target classes folder. And you can see now it is here. So as your project is built, you will get it. So now this is what it meant when I said add XSD to the class path in the project, and by default src main resources is the folder that you can use. And you can also check, if I do a right click to src main resources and go to build path, it is showing me remove from build path. That means this folder is already in the build path of this project. So we have done step number 2. Step number 3 is, now I can create a new class. I will go to my src test java and go to tests folder, and I will create a new class here. I will say XML schema validation, and I will save this. And now I have got a class. The next step is we have to create a function and annotate it with TestNG annotation @test. So I will create a function. I will say public void XML, or I'll just say schema validation, and that's it. A curly bracket start and stop, and now I will annotate it with the function @test. If I press Ctrl spacebar on my keyboard, I'm getting this option to get it from org.testng.annotations. So I will get this. Make sure that you get it from the TestNG library here. And now after this, I can add the code to run the API request with rest assured. So I'm going to add a code to run the add API from this calculator SOAP web service, and this is exactly what we had done in the earlier session. In this session where we created this SOAP XML request and created this validate SOAP XML function, we added our request, the SOAP request, which is of the type XML, and then it also gives a response of type XML. I'm just going to copy this entire thing from here. Just in case you have not watched the earlier video, you can watch that first and get this code ready. I'm just going to copy this and paste it here, and you can also see it is taking the request from a file which is under the folder soap request add.xml, which is here. So soap request add.xml, we added our request here. If I open add.xml, this is the request where we are doing a addition of 2 and 3, and we should get 5 in the response. So here I will save this, and we may have to resolve some errors. So here I should be adding throws declaration. So I'll just add the declaration here, and for here as well I will add the IO exception, and that's it. Looks like this is all fine. I will first run and check if this is working fine. I can do a right click and run as TestNG test, and let us see the output. And yes, everything is working fine. So this is all fine, and I'm also getting the result, which is 5 here, the addition of 2 and 3. So this is fine. Now next step is I have to add the code to validate XML response against the XML schema or the XML schema definition, and the code is this. I can say assertThat body, and I can use the function matchesXsdInClasspath and give the XSD file, and because it is in the class path, our calculator.xsd, I can just mention the file name here. So I will say here I will go to the bottom, and after I have validated this, I will remove the semicolon, give a dot here and say and let me put it in a new line for easy readability, and again I will say dot, and I will say go to the next line and I will say assert that, and then I will say body dot body, and here I will say I have to use the function matchesXsdInClasspath. This should be coming from rest assured matchers. So I will say rest assured matchers dot matchesXsdInClasspath. So I will say matchesXsd. So we have all these functions, matchesXsd, where file is the input or file input stream, or we can directly get it from the class path because we have already added our XSD file in the class path. So if you want, you can use the other functions as well, and here I have to give the path of the file. So I'll just mention the name, that is calculator.xsd. So you can see the file name is calculator.xsd. I'll mention this here, and then I'll give a semicolon. So this is fine. Now just in case you want to do a static import and use this function, that is matchesXsdInClasspath directly, then you can do a static import of this function. So I can say import static. So I can remove this, or I can just say import static io.restassured.matchers matches XSD in class path, and with this I can use it in a static way. I do not need to add this class name now, and this will work. So this is fine, and you can see we have done this. And finally, step number 7 is we have to run and verify. So I will run it again and check. I will say run as TestNG test, and let us see the output. So this should verify the response against the XML schema that we have added, and looks like it has failed. Let me see. It says here, it says cannot find declaration of the element soap envelope. So actually the validation against XML schema has failed because in the XML schema we do not have any declaration for the soap envelope element. However, it is present in the response XML. So for that, what we can do is, if I just copy this statement and search it on Google. Let us see what we get the options. So yes, we have a Stack Overflow article on this discussion here, and I should be getting a direct solution. Most probably we may have to add this in our XML schema. So let me open my XML schema. This is our XML schema, and we should be adding the information about the envelope. So here you can see this is exactly what is the issue we are getting. Cannot find declaration of element soap envelope, and here you can either change your XML, and because we are getting the XML body from the server, I cannot change that, but I can change the XSD. So I can just add this in my XSD. This statement should work. I will go here, and after access schema element I will just add this where we are getting the namespace, and you can also check it from your XML. This should be same, and this is our soap envelope. I will save this, save, and run my class again and check. So let us see now. So this is working fine. Still there is some issue. Let me check again. This time still we have the same issue. Let me check again. Okay, we had not yet built our project. Let us build it and then check, because until then in the class path it should be having the old file. So I will say project, and I can say clean and build, and I will say project. So I think it should already have built, and one of the ways to check is you can go to your class path of your project. So I can just go to the target folder and go to properties and open this folder, and now if I go to classes I can check my XSD. It should be having the changes, and looks like still it has not come here. After access schema we directly have the access element. So I think I will have to do a build again. I will go to project and I will say build project, and after this is done we should be getting the updated file here. So if I open this now, it has still not get it. Let me check one more time. Project clean, I will say build only the selected project, and it is doing now, and I will say build automatically. And yes, now I think we should get the changes in our class path. If I now open it, let me go from here, target, properties, and open classes. I will say edit with notepad++, and let me check. I think the mistake I did is I made a change here, and this calculator.xsd is actually the one which I have on my desktop. So this was a mistake. Sorry for that. Let me copy this again. Let me copy the XSD again in my src main resources folder and say OK. I will say overwrite, and now if I check I will say project and clean, and then I will say yeah, it is building. So this time if I go and check, it is already building now. So if I go and check now and check this, yes, you can see the import statement has come here. So now I can run it again and check. I will run my class And now let us see. And yes, everything is fine. Let me check again. I will run again so you can see the console and everything. And everything is fine now, and our validation is successful. So this is how you can do XML schema validation with rest assured. I hope this was very useful for you, and I will meet you in the next session. Thank you for watching.